In 2024, the Vermont Rail System purchased the New Hampshire Central Short Line in northern New Hampshire. NHCR operates two sections of railroad, but also retains rights on dormant trackage to Bethlehem, New Hampshire, and Gilman, Vermont. If you are subscribed to my channel, you know that I have been covering Vermont Rail's plans on reactivating track on their dormant lines, but I have yet to cover the ongoing improvement work on the active tracks on the former Boston and Maine line from Hazens north to Groveton, New Hampshire. At Groveton, NHCR interchanges freight with the St. Lawrence and Atlantic Railway, and Hazens is a transload site for a local customer. Since the purchase of the NHCR, VRS has already regained a customer who had not shipped for about 6 years. That customer previously transloaded plastic pellets from hopper cars on the Mountain Division track at Hazens, which is just a short distance away from their manufacturing facility by the airport in Whitefield. Now they are back doing that again. Car storage is also up on this line. Propane tank cars have been stored on the siding tracks at Lancaster recently, which I believe is something that wasn't happening in recent years. In addition to what has already started, Vermont Rail is looking into restoring the Whitefield Yard as a transload site. At last report, they were looking into a grant to fund the work to restore the yard, but they have already started work clearing the tracks to the yard. They have also repaired tracks by replacing ties, installing new culvert pipes, and dropping ballast to repair washouts. As covered in previous videos, VRS is looking to go past Whitefield all the way to Gilman, Vermont, and maybe even eventually all the way to St. Johnsbury. But until then, the freight traffic generated at Whitefield will have to use the line up to Groveton. With general maintenance, but also expansion in mind, VRS is working on the line to the St. Lawrence and Atlantic interchange, and we'll see these improvements as we follow the line north. Starting at Hazens, we see the switcher locomotive stationed here to switch cars for the regained customer. The train is sitting on the old Main Central Mountain Division that historically did not tie in with the B&M here. This switch track was actually built in the early 2000s specifically to allow easy access to place rail cars here for the customer. Hadn't they built this track, the train would have to operate all the way to a switch by the Whitefield Diamond to then shove back to the transload at Hazens. This connection is also where the Conway Scenic Railroad connects with the National Rail Network. Currently, Conway Scenic doesn't move freight, but whenever they get new equipment, it gets to them through this connection. Interestingly enough, the last moves over this connection, besides the freight transload, were for NHCR engines to go to North Conway for inspections and work. NHCR GP9 7324 is seen here at North Conway awaiting work. It is easier to send locomotives here for work than it is to work on them at the NHCR shops in North Stratford. Conway Scenic has also been leasing locomotives to the NHCR using this connection. Both Conway Scenic engines 216 and 573 have been moving freight in recent months because of this partnership with VRS/NHCR. Back to the views at Hazens, we look down toward the Whitefield Diamond. The tie work on the B&M side is evident here by the old ties sitting along the track. While going north from Hazens, we found some evidence of improvements at Lancaster, New Hampshire. VRS brought in track equipment for the much-needed work on the NHCR, and they were found stored here for the weekend. Switch timbers have been installed here as well. Telling by the track conditions under the tank cars, the work here is long overdue. Making our way north, we find ourselves at Groveton. Until 2007, a large paper mill operated here and was a railroad customer. Unfortunately, most of the facility was demolished, but tracks still extended to part of the property. We also get to see the Groveton Station and interchange. A number of tank cars were sitting here, with a hopper of plastic pellets for the customer at Hazens. It is pretty exciting to see the interest in this line again after several years of no freight trains and minimal activity overall. I'm hopeful VRS will find success in this line in their expansion from Whitefield to the west. For more information on the plans for the Mountain Division, check the video description for links to my videos discussing that topic. Also look for links to footage from another channel that has covered the restored freight moves on this line. Time will tell what will develop on these tracks, so stay tuned for future updates on this line right here on my channel.